Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to Saturday afternoon's main event. Of course, it is the phenomenal one here, and today's show will continue. It'll go on. We have a lot in store for you guys today. But before I do that, and before I begin this show with my co-host and become the kid behind the microphone known as the phenomenal one, I want to speak to you guys as Rich Marley Gare, because today's show is in tribute to, name on the bottom, of course, Matthew Michelle. Matthew was a friend of mine, and truth be told, he was a brother. I want to be able to say this clearly without my voice picking up, but I remember going to school one day, and it was funny because in 2018, I was a freshman trying to find an identity in a world where things continue to keep moving. And I got to my bus stop, and I saw two kids literally just waiting for the bus as well, but they didn't have our charter school uniform on. And one of them was his cousin Ashley, who I'm sending so much love to. And she went ahead and she asked me, since I was the first one who got there, she was like, "Is this the bus that takes us to so-and-so school?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is." And as she proceeded to say thank you, I peered over to the side, and there's this dude who just standoffish, ominous, headphones in the ear at 6 o'clock in the morning, not paying a mind to anything. I was mad. And when we got on the bus, that's when I proceeded to actually talk to him. And I was like, "Yo, what are you listening to?" And in that moment, he told me he was listening to what would be known as probably one of my favorite artists currently, Lil Uzi Vert. And I sat there and I was like, "Oh, damn, really? You're serious? That's my favorite artist too." And immediately, the bond picked up. Immediately, it was quickly shown that I had made a friend, but never in a million years did I think I formed a bond, somewhat of a brotherly bond with Matt. And every day, whether it was in class, whether it was on a bus, whether it was outside school, Matt lived. Matt showed what it meant to live. Matt was always the type of person to be like, "Yo, bro, what we doing today? Yo, how you carrying with this? How you carrying with that?" I won't forget one time I went through a breakup and I sat there and I was literally crying my eyes out. And Matt looks over at me and Matt's like, "Rich, WTF? What are you doing? There's money to be made today." And I sat there and I looked at him and I was like, "How sadistic can you possibly be?" But he looked over at me. He was like, "Yo, bro, listen, tough times don't last. Tough people do. Get up. Come on. Let's go be great." And in whatever I did, Matt showed what it meant to be great. Whether it was being a friend, whether it was being a cousin, whether it was being a brother or a son, Matt always kept it real. So when I got that call last week, it altered my thought process completely. And Matt, brother, I know you're out of this realm now. Now you're literally up there, vibing, chilling, doing as you please, possibly speed drifting through the clouds. But I want you to know that back out here on this earth, we miss you. We love you. We'll forever keep you alive, man. That's the real. And like I said, today's show, it's for you. I'm seeing forever, man. Love you. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome, welcome, welcome to Saturday afternoon's main event. Don't know why my thing is doing this. Hold on, let's refresh. Perfect. All right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to episode 34 of the phenomenon known as Saturday afternoon's main event. If you don't know who I am after literally years of doing this, whether you are dumb, stupid, blind, or just plain irrelevant, I suggest you go back to school, go into your local library, get the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the phenomenal one. And of course, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, I'm not alone because I have my co-host, my comrade, my brother from another mother and dimension. He is the one and only limousine rider, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, give me 2 claps and a beef snatch.
Woo! Yes, on again another Saturday, another great Saturday, another busy Saturday. We got Triple Mania later on. For those that are going to be watching Collision, you got that coming along as well. So you got a lot of wrestling in your mind space. So we're going to try to get your mind wrapped around that while we try to make your day a little bit better. Especially my partner having a pretty hard day. I think he can use a great show where we talk about the 3 tenets that make Saturday afternoon really, really great. And that is, of course, laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So stay tuned, folks, because we got a good show for you.
You're not wrong at all. Well, look, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this show started the only way we know how to. You hear that sound? It's time for one thing and one thing only. Guys, it is time for Wrestling Crash Course. Peeps, man.
Is it safe?
Yeah, it's safe. It's safe.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, man, it's time for Wrestling Crash Course, guys. Of course, first piece of news today, WWE's Monopoly. Guys, I don't know how else to put this. It is insane that in 2025, WWE is literally living as if Vince McMahon is still running the company. I have never seen so much pettiness, so much childish factorization within a Fortune 600 company in my entire life. Monopolization of merchandise, TV deals now stemming with wrestling fans having to spend money to watch pay-per-views like it's 2003. You have people getting released out of contracts when you're literally quarterly earnings are at highs. But most of all, if I can go ahead and quote Peeps Nate, because he's been saying this a lot for the last couple of months. They're sitting here and hosting shows during the same time as All Elite Wrestling's pay-per-views, but somehow, some way, AEW is in competition. Make it make sense at this point. Now, there is rumors, things swirling around that all of this with the partnering of TNA Wrestling and all this kind of good stuff is plans for WWE to try to get TNA a TV deal to push AEW out of the mix. Not only that, they are also probably looking to buy TNA.
They're leasing the company with the option to buy. That's literally what it sounds like. It sounds like they're kicking the tires on a used car, thinking that they may buy it, so they're gonna give it a run. They've been giving it a run for the last maybe 2 years now. I mean, we can really point back to the TNA collaboration with Mickie James being part of the Women's Royal Rumble just a couple of years ago, and introducing her as the TNA Knockouts champ, which I would have never seen. That is literally a Bizarro World event. And look at what we're doing right now. Look at what we're talking about right now. We're talking about a company that 6 years ago, if you remember this, and I was at the Barclays during the WWE's Hall of Fame event in 2019. Ironically, I was there with your uncle. And we watched Triple H and company denigrate AEW before they had even done a show, and talked about how Vince McMahon would buy AEW just so he could fire people that worked there, talking about Billy Gunn, etc. Here we are now 6 years later, and AEW, for whatever the metrics are, for whatever your taste in the product is right now positioned as the number 2 professional wrestling company in the United States, as far as TV deals, as far as income coming in, as far as money going into the product and the perception of what they are. And knowing that they being WWE, continues to talk about AEW like they aren't competition. They're doing a whole lot of things to make you think that they're doing something to squelch that non-competition. The counter-programming arm is real. We already know about what they've done over the last year as far as putting on pay-per-views or putting on shows and events to overwhelm their wrestling shows on a weekend basis. We saw what happened with Saturday night's main event going up against All In and putting that as Goldberg's final match. And in doing those kinds of things, they're taking away from the quality of what the show could have been by trying to get a ratings pull on the competition, which, remember, they said they aren't competition. And here we are now with AEW going in. We know that John Cena, we know that Brock Lesnar, that's the next big main event push, so to speak, for WWE. That may get its own show at Bad Blood, which we last saw Cody Rhodes in last year. So we remember that's another big show that they could be doing.
But it's funny.
Oh, what are they going to put Bad Blood on against? Yeah.
But
Go
what
figure.
I'm hearing now is funny, because what I'm hearing now is that WWE isn't doing Bad Blood.
Oh.
That they've been the pay-per-views over the limit.
Oh.
They're bringing back over the limit in Indianapolis. That's what the goal is here. I'm sitting here like, okay, cool. Brought back a pay-per-view.
Yes.
Nice. Hey,
Yes.
as a fan, that's cool. But Jesus Christ.
Yes.
What is all of this? Is it needed? Peeps, I think that's the real question to ask. Is it needed?
It's absolutely petty. And we can go down the list of the things that we've talked about and have seen in the world of WWE in this sense. We know that the NXT Heatwave is going to be the same day as Forbidden Door, which is August 24th. We already know that. We also know that in December is AEW's World's End pay-per-view.
Yep.
Guess what they may be pulling, they being WWE, may be pulling as a counter-programming coup, so to speak.
Cena's final match.
There you go. There you go. This is within the DNA of WWE, because this is not like the first time they've done this. Just in this era of wrestling competition with AEW, they did the same thing during the territory days with Vince McMahon would counter program WCW. They would counter program Crockett in the NWA, which we have talked about ad nauseum over the many years that we've done this show. So there's no need to rehash that. But it's petty. It shortens the long-term viability of the actual genre and the product. And the WWE seems to be using TNA as a vessel to continue to disrupt AEW, to try to stop them from getting any kind of positive momentum, for getting bigger marketing deals, bigger media deals, getting on something along those lines of putting TNA potentially on a bigger television network, maybe moving them to the CW, maybe moving their product to compete against Dynamite, maybe putting them on A&E or any number of channels that would have much more visibility than Access. That's what WWE is doing, and it's very transparent, the result of what they want to happen.
Well, it's insane. It's insane. And I, for one, as a wrestling fan, don't stand for it. It's just crazy. Like, we monopolized everything a buck 40 years ago. Like, is there need for normalization or some type of merging? We're already getting AAA and WWE. They literally practically own it. What is it going to be called? WWE Mexico? What the fuck are we doing here? Like,
pretty much. Yes.
And, you know,
as our esteemed co-host, Mr. 411 Christopher Morton, actually talked to us about in our text thread, he's basically saying that this amounts to bullying Tony Khan. Yep. Now, and the perception of that is strong, because that's what the WWE has done in the past. The only problem is Tony Khan is his own worst enemy when it comes to production and into promotion and certain other things that they're having enough of a time trying to get over on their own. To have this extra step laced in front of them, that's going to be the problem going forward, of how they take care of it. And at what point do they decide are they going to try and play dirty ball again, do something very similar? We'll see how they go going forward.
Gotcha, Peeps. I understand. All right, say no more. Well, look, from there, we edge out from the WWE into the world of the women's division. We have a Liv Morgan injury update, Peeps. They're saying that she might be back at the beginning of the year. Royal Rumble. Peeps, do we put it out now? Liv Morgan wins the Royal Rumble.
If she doesn't win the Royal Rumble, she'll be a huge factor in its decision. And based on the injury and based on what has happened with the Judgment Day and the storyline that they're telling with Raquel Rodriguez and with Roxanne Perez, and how they're going about her not being there, and Finn basically peeing in the Kool-Aid of the rest of the group to try to stir up something. That could definitely be something down the road.
All right, got you. Now, look, when it comes down to the Dominic Mysterio situation, how do we handle this here now? Dominic custody of Dominic ladder match? Are we doing this again?
We're gonna put Dominic on a pole. We're gonna have
Dominic Mysterio on a forklift match. Perfect.
Oh man, that's crazy. But we're getting to that point. But you know what? Absolutely. Dominic has done such a great job that the Liv Morgan storyline has just been icing on the cake. And whenever she gets back, whatever angle that they go with, I think will just completely add on to what they've been doing with this storyline.
Gotcha. Okay, no problem. Well then look, peeps, from there, we'll move to the world of AEW. And it seems like they have a new signing. One half of ABC, of course, with dashing Chris Bay. Former TNA X Division champion, Ace Austin, is now All Elite.
Yes.
Well then, okay. Peeps.
Yes.
That doesn't sound bad. I genuinely
that's
don't
good.
hate it. I
Yeah, that's a really nice signing. I mean, it's funny. AEW could not get the machine guns, so they came and got somebody that is of that aspect within the same mold. Just one out of the team.
It works. It works.
Yes.
Now, peeps, the real question. Chris Bay going there anytime soon once he, hopefully, God willing, gets back into shape, gets to form. Hopefully, the injury doesn't, stunt him, because he has said that, look, I'm continuing, I'm pushing. I want to get back. And it seems like every single time he makes an appearance, it's like the fans even want it, because we want to see Chris Bay win. Now, does it seem like we're getting that? We're going to get close to that?
I would love to see that. Matter of fact, you know what I would love to see? If all things are equal and everybody gets healthy, we get a healthy Jay White. We've already got Juice Robinson. You know where I'm going with this. You got a healthy Juice Robinson. You get the guns come back.
God.
You bring back the Bullet Club in AEW, and you let the sickos feast.
God.
That would definitely work, because Ace Austin, Chris Bay, you bring back ABC, you team them up with the Bang Bang Gang, and then you have another variation of the Bullet Club there, and you inject a little juice into the AEW tag team division.
Peeps,
there you go.
Question, not a real question though. A real solid question.
Yes.
Okay. We bring back Bullet Club to refeast on the sickles. That would be perfect. But look, with the work that the Bucks have been doing as of late, it would be nice if they try to get or demand respect by being a part of BC. Or joining back BC. Peeps, what are we thinking? I'm sorry. I'm thinking heavy, because I'm like, okay, you know what? If Ace Austin is solo right now, we need another tag team. Because if somebody's gonna be taking care of Ring of Honor, somebody needs to take care of AEW's portion. That's just me. But I digress.
Yeah. Well, there you go. First one of the day. And again, you're right about that. That definitely would work. That would definitely work.
Now, peeps, ratings this week.
Yes.
The End Wrestling Crash Course.
Yes. Here are the ratings, and NXT triumphant once again. 728,000 viewers with a 0.17 in the demo, whereas AEW did 690,000 with the same demo, 0.17. So AEW, although we've been saying as long as they don't dip into the sub 600 mark, it was not as high as last week, which was over 711,000. They're staying in that range of 690, 700,000, and they can keep that. Remember, as we said this before, the next couple of weeks are going to be telling, because not only do you have Forbidden Door coming up, football is going to be starting. College football starts in another couple of weeks. The NFL starts in another 3 weeks. So that's going to be telling as far as the audience to see where they go from there.
Absolutely. Now, peeps, I was hearing something. Isn't it insane that we're about to say that Raw jumps to Netflix and they don't even pull 1 million?
Yeah.
Raw did 980,000 viewers on Monday.
Wow.
Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
In 2025.
Yes. And after all of the weeks, what we get are, because the way that the ratings work, it's not like the Nielsen ratings. The Nielsen ratings, you get them literally within the 24 hours that show was on. Whereas the Netflix ratings, you get them weekly. So all of the Raw ratings, as far as viewership, is usually a week behind, especially since they do Monday and then you don't get the results until the following week. Everything that they've done since they've moved has been, I'll give you kind of a rough estimate, outside of the first Raw that they did where they got globally 4.9 million, and then it kind of kind of dipped somewhat until it kind of regulated 3.9, 3.7, 3.9, 3.1, 2. So you got those kinds of numbers that started to regulate between 2.7 and 2.9 million. But that's globally. As we've been talking about before, is that the numbers as far as the American viewers, the US viewers that are watching it, it's probably about the same as that they were when they were on the USA Network. But 900,000, that's crazy.
Heard of that before. That's insane.
Ironically, 900,000 is what AEW would want to get back to as far as a number for their over-the-air viewers. So to see that on Raw, that is definitely an aberration. If this happens more than once, then we're gonna have a problem.
Indeed.
Yes.
But look, until then, let's continue to go ahead and move towards this show. But look, at the end of the day, this marks the end of the first half of Same, guys. We appreciate you guys for going ahead and tuning in with us, whether you're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. Of course, it's Saturday afternoon's main event. When we come back from our 30-second break, we're going to go ahead and get into our questions. And then, of course, final topic for today's show being Karrion Kross. So look, guys, stay tuned. Do not go anywhere. Second half of Saturday afternoon's main event is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Same. Of course, I had a phenomenal one. Alongside me is my co-host, the one and only Peeps Nature. We're going to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. Now we've reached the part of our show where we go ahead and get into our questions. So look, we already know how this goes. If you don't know how this goes, we're about to tell you. Guys, look, Peeps is pointing down to it. And of course, it's right up top here too. You want to go ahead and send in the question to our glorious people here at Saturday afternoon's main event. All you gotta do is one thing only. DM us on Instagram at Saturday afternoons_main event. Send in the question in the words of the wrestling god, WWE Hall of Famer JBL. I guarantee it'll be on the next episode of the show. Now look, with that being said, peeps, first one comes from Master Sean 007. He says, greetings, gentlemen. I would like to get your thoughts on Danhausen. Is he someone that the WWE should pursue? If so, how do you see him fitting his gimmick into their brand? You know,
Danhausen, that's definitely different. Yes. But
Danhausen, you know, WWE is gimmick world. If there's anything that we know, WWE loves them, the gimmick wrestlers.
Yes.
Loves them, the gimmick wrestlers. Vince loved the gimmick wrestlers. Remember the 90s peeps? Repo Man.
Oh yes.
I know that really just struck something within you. With the glasses and everything.
Yes.
Oh my God. Good times. Good times.
Yes.
But as you can see, hillbillies, the bushwhackers.
Yes.
You know, Isaac Yankem.
Yes. We've had dentists. We've had sanitation workers.
IRS.
Yes.
I mean, what have we not done in the world of
even Wild Bill Irwin, who was part of the Long Riders tag team in the AWA way back when, they turned him into a jobber and put him in a hockey outfit and called him the Goon. So that should tell you what kind of stuff they come up with as far as these jobbers and different characters and what they would bring up. Danhausen in WWE, I have a feeling he would have fit much better in Vince McMahon's era than in Triple H's era.
Peeps, listen, I'm sorry, because see, this is where the phenomenal one goes back into being Rich Mark. Just give me a second.
Okay.
Peeps, can you read that for me?
This isn't even real news.
Peeps, what do we cover here on Saturday afternoon's main event? What are the three tenets again? I just want to know. I genuinely just want to know.
Laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible.
What did we cover in the first half of the show, peeps? Was that news?
Yes.
This is the part of the show where we answer the questions from the listeners, right? Where they just want to hear our hard takes on certain things, right?
There you go.
Peeps, pardon my French. To the people watching at home, pardon my French. What type of sack of shit do you think I am to be sitting here taking things from somebody who doesn't even have a logo for their podcast? VNV Podcast. Yo, listen, you want to go ahead and watch real news? You can go ahead and listen to Busted Open. You can go ahead and listen to 6 Feet Under. If you want to go ahead and get your news, you can go ahead and get it on websites. Look, once more, Saturday afternoon's main event. Laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. You got a problem with it? I got 2 words for you. Suck it. Fucking hell. Can't stand people. I'm sorry, Peeps. Back to the show. I like Peeps. I can't stand people.
I understand.
What are we doing here?
The one thing that you learn doing what we do is not to feed the trolls. And that's basically the way I do it.
Of course, absolutely. But the one good thing is that this isn't FCC Airways. You can't sue me. Look, but it's all right, though. Peeps. Now, when it comes down to it, back to it, right? Danhausen.
Yes.
Would he be a good fit for WWE? Do you think that? Would you possibly think that? I mean, in the world of WWE gimmicks, we've seen a lot. Danhausen, I think he fits it, right? Just for the comedic factor. Put him with R-Truth. I curse you, R-Truth.
Imagine him interacting with the Wyatt Six.
That would just be that would be funny.
That would be interesting.
The CM Punk stuff would be livid. I kid you not. Doing to the fact that they actually got a real relationship in real life. That would just be funny. But then again, like I said, if WWE should pursue, I don't know about all that. WWE has shown already that if Dakota Kai, if Karrion Kross, if Jakara Jackson, if Eddie Thrope, if these people are still not in the company, when obviously there have been showings of life where they should have been there, and they're getting rid of them, I don't think Danhausen should go. I genuinely don't think so. That's just me. But with that being said, Master Sean 007, thank you for that question. We appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yes.
Send one again. But look, from there we move to Long Island Isaiah. He says, today is the day Dominic Mysterio wins the AAA Mega Championship. We made it. It's funny because Uncle Triple C said this. Dominic Mysterio will become the greatest intercontinental AAA heavyweight champion. he just had to add
you have to say it like him. Dominic Mysterio will be the greatest intercontinental AAA Mega World Heavyweight Champion ever. What a champion. That's how you say it.
You missed one solid part of that.
Oh,
my boy!
Oh, there you go.
Yo, yes. We love you, man. Big ups to you, man.
There you go.
Funny, we have another question, kind of like a comment from Tagar Laga. Joe Bahak. Look, if I butchered that in any way, case in point, I am sorry. I'll just call you T. He says this on YouTube. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for sending in this comment. He says, if Danhausen did join the Wyatts, would he complete the Wyatt Six's name as having 6 members? The long-time rumor is that Alexa Bliss is the 6th member of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah, they've been teasing the whole Alexa Bliss Wyatt Six thing for about 3 or 4 months. And I think if the whole Alexa Bliss Charlotte Flair thing goes south, which I'm actually enjoying the interaction that they're having as far as them building Charlotte and their friendship together, if that falls flat, then they can go back to that. But right now, I don't think Alexa Bliss is headed there now. Although she does have the doll back, but that was given to her friend Charlotte, or by her friend Charlotte. So there you go.
Well, we still got time to go from there. But I feel like even within Danhausen's comedic factor, it's too raunchy for the Wyatt Six currently. I don't know. I just feel that way because we've seen the stuff that he did with Hook.
Yes.
Are we accustomed to like a scare? Peeps. Like, that's what I'm saying though. Like, how can you put that with the Wyatt Six? Especially as of right now with the way that they're getting momentum. They're much more serious. I don't think
unless they do something with Danhausen's character that they don't go so heavy on the comedic aspect of it. Because that's really what Danhausen is all about. It's the goofiness of it. He cursing people left and right. But at the same time, we know in the ring, he's actually pretty good. So let's see if that was the case, what they would do with Danhausen. I don't know if there is an actual plan for somebody like Danhausen in WWE, but it would be interesting to see.
Absolutely. I don't blame you, Peeps. I agree with that. But look, that marks the end of the questions, guys. We appreciate them. We thank you guys for them. You want to send in more? All you got to do is one thing and one thing only: DM, Instagram, Saturday afternoons _ main event. Send in a question. It'll be featured on the next episode of the show. With that being said, Peeps, we have finally reached that part of the show where we're going to go ahead and get into this topic. It's a touchy one, but it's okay, because at the end of the day, what's more, this is Saturday afternoon's main event.
Yes, and we definitely have more than enough time to discuss this one topic.
Absolutely. 30 minutes.
Yes.
Peeps, Karrion Kross. We touched on this subject last week when it came down to Karrion Kross, because we knew that his contract was supposed to be up on the 10th. Or that weekend, of course. We saw the documentaries that he posted to his Instagram, which have gained over thousands and hundreds of thousands of views. Now, understandable. We now know he doesn't have a contract. He went on the MMA Hour, Ariel Helwani, sat there, told him everything. Some of the key notes that I went ahead and picked up was, 1, his contract ended on the 10th. Days prior, WWE sent him a contract. Only to him. Not Scarlett, only to him. He wanted to be able to get his contract just along the same time with his wife. They reassured him, look, we'll give you your contract and then we'll deal with her after. Karrion refused. Another note to make, they went ahead and gave him only 24 hours to either accept or decline the offer before they would resign it. What we are also hearing with that, there were certain financial certainties within that where Kross didn't feel like the money that they were willing to give him was what he was worth. Something along those lines. And of course, they gave him 24 hours. He didn't accept it. Another note to make, he was open for bookings, and every single wrestling company chose not to even go ahead and call because they felt as if it was a work. He reassured them that it wasn't a work. Today, I can tell you now that Kross has had 2 bookings already, open for autograph signings out in different specs of the United States. Peeps. August 16th, 2025, we have finally found out that Karrion Kross is not with WWE. Now, I have to ask you this. Do you still feel it's a work?
I think, based on what we've heard, especially some of the things that came out of the discussions that he put up, one on his own blog, which we talked about last week, and some of the things that have come out this week, if WWE is indeed working everybody and working us, they're playing some real dangerous pool. And we've talked about how the idea of pro wrestling and kayfabe is to go ahead and then make sure that you're kind of, as Dusty Rhodes used to say, living at the edge of a lightning bolt, baby. And you don't really know what's real and what isn't. You give them just enough and then you reel it back. The problem is, if you do that too many times, the lightning bolt will burn the house down. If we've seen how these things go when it comes to kind of walking the line of reality and fiction when it comes to these stories, as I've talked about also, Controversy Creates Cash is the name of Eric Bischoff's book that he did years ago. And it talks about those kinds of things happening in the eyes of the wrestling fan. As looking at where we are today in 2025, where we all know wrestling is for the most part a work. We all know that, but we don't know how much of a work it is, because they will only tell you what you should know or what you need to know. Let's peer this into the idea of, let's say that this is legitimate. it makes the WWE look really off. And from what we were led to believe and what Kross talked about and some of the things that came out of this and why this has happened, this goes back to the promo that he cut during WrestleMania weekend, where he was off the WrestleMania card, and he cut a really big promo dumping on WWE, talking about the higher-ups and the fictitious guy that's supposed to represent Triple H but wasn't Triple H. And it was a well-received promo. It got millions of views that week. All people talked about was Karrion Kross's promo. The issue was, from what was reported, was that he cleared this promo with the higher-ups to make it look like a work, even though it was a work to make it look like a shoot. The problem was apparently there was a miscommunication with somebody, and someone in the higher-ups thought that this was a legitimate shoot and did not like it. So maybe that's kind of what trickled downward towards the issue of his renegotiation. The issue that Kross has had in the years that he's been in WWE since he left NXT is that he has not been booked prominently the way he should have been when he was in NXT. Mm-hmm. And we know that started with Vince McMahon not knowing what to do with this guy, putting him in a gimp suit and a demolition mask, taking away his music, taking away Scarlett, and then bringing him up in his first match on the main roster, lose to Jeff Hardy. That stained his reputation permanently from there on. He's been in the company, was cut, came back, gave him a second chance, put him with AOP, put him with Paul Ellering, gave him his own group, and that didn't work. So now we have Scarlett, who is his wife, mind you, and I'm bringing that up for a particular reason. His wife and himself, and they just could not seem to gain any traction. He's messing with AJ Styles. He's messing with Kevin Owens. He's now messing with Sami Zayn. And every feud that he gets into, he corrupts them. That's the goal of what he was going through. And probably the fact that Karrion Kross is gone is part of the reason why Sami Zayn is no longer on Raw, is to move him away from the Karrion Kross influence. Now that Karrion Kross is no longer there, moving Sami Zayn forward and moving him away from that by putting him on SmackDown. How is that 1-2 punch of Scarlett and Karrion Kross? How do you split those two up? You answer me that. How do you split those two up when they're a package deal?
That's like saying to Randy Poffo, Elizabeth isn't getting a contract. What? Elizabeth isn't getting a contract? Ooh, yeah, well, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't work for the Macho King. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Vince McMahon sitting down and telling Randy Savage, oh, no, we're not offering something to Miss Elizabeth. Can you imagine him telling the Booker T, oh, we're sorry, Charmel? Oh, yeah, no more Queen Charmel. You're just a king on your own, you know? Fuck you. Yes. You're King David. He had multiple wives. They're just at home.
There you go.
Like, what are we doing here? Like, what?
Yes.
Genuinely. I don't get it. It's preposterous to think that they have all of these liable barrings and bearings for Karrion Kross. And it's like, you guys don't put him in a position to succeed. He literally was top in merch sales. And you guys still don't want to go ahead and book him properly. And in the highlight match that was supposed to be his win at SummerSlam, which would have at least catapulted him somewhere where you could have worked with him more, he's gone. Peeps, you said this many times on this show, and it always reigns true. And I appreciate you for always saying it. This, my friends, to any person who loves professional wrestling, who endears professional wrestling to individuals that might be even thinking about joining professional wrestling, this is the problem when you get over without the WWE machine pushing you. It's been shown multiple times, and it seems like Vince is still here. because we all thought that Triple H would see the potential in all of his stars, that individuals would be getting booked the way that they had to be getting booked, that individuals would be able to go ahead and do what they have to do without having the bearings of a Brock Lesnar or a part-timer always coming back to go ahead and get the main event. We don't get any of that. None of that exists because we thought, well, Triple H ran NXT. Look how he ran NXT. Look at Karrion Kross then. No, this isn't a Triple H thing. This is a WWE thing. You get over without the machine, you're bound to fail. And it's not your fault. It's just that the company doesn't see you as prominent because now instead they see you as a threat. Imagine cancel culture in wrestling. This is cancel culture. Peeps. Now, with Kross out of the picture, and with us hearing chants still of "We want Kross," where do we go? Where do we go? Because now I want to answer this question, or I want to ask this question, because we know how fans are. They're fickle. You got certain fans that will sit there and be like, oh, he couldn't wrestle. Oh, he couldn't take back bumps. Oh, he sucks in the ring. Oh, his character is passe. But then they're still gonna be the ones who will sit there and be like, oh, we want Kross. Our Kross should be here. Kross should this, Kross should that. Now, peeps, beyond everything else, you and I have known each other for years. We were there for Karrion Kross's inception into WWE NXT.
Yes.
You remember how we were. You remember how we felt.
Yes.
And we said to ourselves, this guy is made for the main event picture.
Yes.
Where do we go now?
I don't know. And the saddest part about it is it's very hard to get lightning in a bottle. You want to strike while the iron is hot. When you have, I'll give you a perfect example. For those that don't really care as much for Jey Uso being World Heavyweight Champion, the reason why that happened was because of the fans. Oh. And Vince McMahon probably would not have pushed him like that. But Triple H had the foresight to say, look, this is all temporary. So let's ride this story while it's hot and get him as high as it can go. And then if it falls apart, at least we were able to take advantage of that. Merchandising, T-shirts, etc. And as we've seen, Jey Uso for a number of months is probably the most over person in the company. Probably right now, still the most over person in the company as far as crowd reaction and getting engagement with the fans, and also in the top 2 or 3 in merchandise sales. But you go ahead and you do that. If you have the audacity to get over against the arm of the company, you get what happened to Long Island Ice Z. You get what happened in a lot of other instances where Daniel Bryan gets the push that he has, being pushed by the fans, and was not the choice of the office. So they put him with the Wyatts to try to stifle his push. Fans did not want that. You get what happened with Kofi Kingston, where Kofi Mania was born mostly because of the fans. Did you really think Vince McMahon wanted to push Kofi Kingston to main event WrestleMania? Hell no. But it happened because he saw the writing on the wall, which was the fans wanted it, and they got it, and they built it up. Ironically, it was Kofi versus Daniel Bryan. And if you remember, we all know the whole idea behind the what was it? The environmentally friendly WWE Championship belt made out of burlap and recycled materials and those kinds of things that happen. Yes. So yeah, those are the kinds of things that happen. But you do that when you see the fans giving that organic push to somebody. WrestleMania, we all know, I should say at SummerSlam, when we know and heard the chants of "We want Kross, we want Kross," and then we started hearing WWE was starting to then take fan signs that were pro-Kross. That's when you know that the company realizes they have something on their hands that they may have trouble getting out from underneath. And when you start to see that organic push happen from the fans, from social media, and then you as a company stifle it or deny that it happens just because of a selfish notion that we're not the ones that want to push this person right now, we can even go ahead and say that was very similar to what happened with LA Knight, because LA Knight went through roughly the same thing. Coming out of NXT, he got so over, really over. And what was the first thing that Vince McMahon did?
Max Dupree.
There you go.
Freaking hell.
And the maximum male models, or whatever the heck. Yes.
Marseille and Mansoor.
Yes. And Mansoir, as they call it. You see what I mean? It's, if you don't have enough guts to see what you're doing, to see that something is over, and then capturing that and saying, we have to do something with this, even if it's out of the purview of what you were going to do planning wise, this is something that you can't just deny because you don't want to acknowledge that it's something you don't want or did not create. Exactly. That was an organic push. The fans saw that promo that Karrion Kross did. They wanted to see this guy push. And who doesn't? 6'4", 6'5", 270. The guy is a beast. Can work in the ring. Scarlett, beautiful woman that goes along with the entire package of the two of them when they were both in TNA running roughshod over wrestlers in TNA when he was Killer Kross. And to see that really go nowhere in WWE is really, really unfortunate.
Indeed. Indeed. Well, peeps, the last question here today. Where do you see Karrion Kross ending up? TNA?
TNA makes the most sense. I don't think he would fit in AEW because I don't know if they would know how to use him in AEW.
Also,
because he fits the same. I think he would fit the same mold as what they did with Malachi Black. Really good wrestler. You could slot him in. He could maybe have his own faction, but they wouldn't push him any further. I think that in TNA, at least he has history there. He's won there, and they know him there. And the ironic part about that is that WWE has some kind of connection with TNA with that agreement that they've signed to help them out. If this is indeed a work, it makes the most sense to put him on TNA, let him run roughshod over that company as far as what they would do in the eyes of the company as far as pushing him, getting a storyline for him. What would work? You look at TNA broadcasting, look at this show, and you start seeing random guys being beat up in the locker room, guys laid out in the parking lot, guys beat up in his car. You see somebody's windshield shattered, and you kind of tease that every week, until you start to see him. All of a sudden, you see a giant clock. Tick tock, tick tock. Wait a minute, what is he doing? He's just twisting folks. And then if you want to do that, if this is a work, you can have him saying, I'm invading TNA to send a message to other companies.
Work, shoot, peeps.
Exactly.
I would enjoy if they were to let him pull ECW Steve Austin. Speaking parables every week once you actually do show up on the roster. Run roughshod over the people who went ahead and got rid of you. Actually put their names within the promos. If this is a work show that they allow you to do, look, run rampant. And then once he finally were to come back, peeps, can you imagine the reception?
Yes.
Got a made man right there. That's if it's a work. And also, shave the damn hair.
He said he wouldn't. He said he would never do that again because if he was going to do that, he would do it to where it would make money. Like a, shave your head kind of match, or the loser loses their hair kind of a match. But he wanted to grow the hair back. He never really wanted to keep the head shaved. So,
peeps, that was a ruthless Karrion Kross.
Yes, it was.
That, man?
Yes.
And for me, if he were to come, if this is all a work and he comes back, I just want to say, if it's gone, then instantly I could sit there and be like, oh God, oh, we're getting this version.
Yes.
Oh yeah, okay, we're locked in. We're all in. Zing. But
yes.
I like
Those were the TNA days when you had Dexter Loomis as Samuel Shaw, the crazy nutcase that was there running rampant over TNA and having all of that there. I really, really enjoyed those days of TNA. And what TNA is doing right now, from a production standpoint, from what they're doing with their TV show, everything that they're doing with storylines, the production has gotten even better. And here's something else that I've noticed. Eric Bischoff on his podcast has noticed it as well, that their production has gotten really, really well. And it's only a matter of getting a better TV deal for TNA. So if that's the case, and they continue to do this, and Carlos Silva, the president of TNA, continues to work with the WWE in getting something going where they get a better TV deal, and if they just do decide to get Karrion Kross and he goes back to being Killer Kross, chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss, indeed. Indeed. We have one question here from Tegar again. He says, in your opinion, if Karrion Kross had shoulder surgery after winning the NXT title, where he separated his shoulder, would he be able to execute moves better and take bumps better? Of course. I mean, I feel that within injuries, especially within shoulder injuries, it does go ahead and take a toll on you to where you have to go ahead and take different bumps. I mean, peeps, one person we can possibly say who had to learn how to go ahead and fall on his back after taking so many back bumps. Hogan.
Yeah. I'll give you another one. Ric Flair. Flair broke his back in a plane crash. And if you ever notice any of his older matches where he would take flat back bumps, he always shifted to the side. He never landed flat back because you break your back. Yeah, you get that mindset of I'm always going to move away and try to do something along those lines. So yes, you do learn. I don't think where this story came from as far as Karrion Kross and his shoulder, I don't believe any of that hampered any of his in-ring work. I think that he has shown that he can work, as evidenced by the match that he had at SummerSlam.
Indeed. I agree wholeheartedly, peeps. You know, I don't think the problem.
I'm digressing on that because that's literally what we've been seeing for the longest time.
And it's insane. But when it comes down to Karrion Kross, Kevin Robert Kazar, we hope that if this isn't a work, okay, I have to go ahead and put that in implication because in this case now, within the world of professional wrestling and sports entertainment, we don't know what to believe until we actually see it.
And also, you got to remember the timing of all of this is happening. He's got a book that's coming out also. Keep that in mind.
Which is why this is all. So when it comes down to it, if you're going to be fighting your footing elsewhere, we hope that you find your footing where you fit.
Yes.
Because indeed, we feel out here, this is a pro Karrion Kross podcast, okay?
Yes.
My co-host and I, we are endeared to Karrion Kross. Like, it's like, okay, look, the man is like a 90s talent who, with the right tools, you elevate this man, the ceiling is insurmountable.
Yes.
He just needs to be used the right way.
Yes. And it's not like he said he really wants to go anywhere else, because if he had the choice to come back to WWE,
he'll do it.
He said it himself. He'd do it in a heartbeat.
Exactly.
He literally stated that's where he wanted to be. That's where he and his wife want to be in WWE. As a matter of fact, Scarlett did a post on her Instagram. Was it Instagram or was it on Twitter, where she talked about how they're family to her. The wrestlers in the back and the people, the staff, etc. They've been very close to all of the talent that's there. So it's not as if they wanted to go leave WWE, but at the same time, sometimes you may have to do that in order to grow, as we've seen with Drew McIntyre, we've seen with Cody Rhodes. Lots of guys that have left and have come back, sometimes multiple times.
We just have to wait and see. I guess that's what it all comes down to.
Yes.
But look, peeps, with that being said, right? Here's how this goes. One more question from Sagar. He says, a bit off topic, but when both of you mentioned Eric Bischoff earlier, I often remember Goldust once saying to Steve Austin, Bischoff.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Isn't this peeps?
Yes. Boy, talk about going way back in the day. Yeah, that was funny. Yes.
These are these old wrestling fans, man. Look,
Yes.
it's within us. It's within us. It's
Yes.
not even beneath us at this point. It's within us. But look,
Yes.
to everybody who was sitting there watching today, to everybody who went ahead and enjoyed this hour of hearing a bit of the news from pro wrestling, listening to our hot takes, listening to us answer questions, and then of course having our topic of Karrion Kross. If you were here this last hour, we appreciate you. We thank you. Continue to show love. Continue to like. Continue to subscribe. Continue to repost. We appreciate the love. We thank you guys for all of the support. But of course, all good things must always come to an end. This marks the end of today's show. We'll be back here next week for episode 35. We'll continue on with some memes and reels throughout our social media platforms. So again, Instagram, Saturday Afternoons _ main event. Twitter, Saturday Main. TikTok, Saturday Afternoons ME. Go ahead, follow us. Be a part of the action. Answer questions. Ask questions. Indulge yourself with the wrestling community, because if anything, when it comes down to it, within this world that we live in, we all may not agree on wrestlers. We all may not agree on certain companies. But if there's one thing I know we all agree on in this realm, is that we all enjoy the world of pro wrestling. And it is with that I leave you here on this episode of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, where I, the phenomenal one,
and for our co-host, Mr. 411, Christopher Morton. This is the Peeps Nate, and of course, we came.
We saw.
And then the words of the Oracle, Paul Heyman.
Send them home, peeps!
We conquered!
We conquered, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week for episode 35. Phenomenal one, Peeps Nate. This was saying peace, love, farewell.